So yeah, this talk is titled Powering TensorFlow with Big Data. How many people were in Anand's talk this morning? A good portion of people. So Anand's talk could be viewed as where we're going, and this talk is perhaps maybe how far we've gotten and perhaps why we haven't gotten all the way where we wanted to get just yet. Damn it, the clicky thing worked when we tested it. Okay, whatever, it's fine. I can, click. Okay, whatever. So yeah, my name is Holden. My preferred pronouns are she or her, and that's the rest of the information about me. I've written a few Spark books. If for some reason you want to learn Spark, I think they're good books. On the other hand, you probably don't really need to learn Spark since you're here. You can follow me on Twitter for pictures of my stuffed animal, Boo, who travels with me everywhere. In addition to who I am professionally, I'm trans, queer, Canadian, on a work visa in America, which is a really exciting time, and part of the leather community. Also, the timer isn't running, but that's okay. Someone will hopefully tell me when I'm running out of time. Regardless, the main point of the slide is just to remind people that we're all from different places and we all have different backgrounds. And we can get through this shit if we work together with each other rather than yelling at each other. And being nice to people is awesome. So hopefully you're nice people. My talking style is very much based on pictures of cats. I'm going to assume a familiarity with Flink. God damn it, sorry. How many people are somewhat familiar with BEAM? Okay, more than 0. That's exciting. Actually, much more than 0, so that's pretty cool. So I should start out with what we didn't get to. So BEAM right now, multiple backends are more a goal than a practice for languages other than Java. As such, tf.transform, tf model analysis, and all of the really cool TensorFlow libraries don't really actually work on Flink right now. And I'm really sorry about that. We're working to get there, and I can show you some of the progress that we've made. There are other projects to use TensorFlow on Flink if you need to put something in production today. But I'm hoping that most of you don't need to put something in production today. Putting something in production at the end of the year is going to be okay. We did get some cool things working. Are there any Go developers in the... 2 people, 3 people, maybe 4. We can be friends. There's a Go on BEAM on Flink prototype, and it even runs with word count. Everyone's favorite big data example. It's a licensing requirement that we put word count examples in every talk, so that's why there's a word count example coming up. There is a prototype of Python on BEAM on Flink. It's in some random GitHub repo that I'll link you to if you want to go take a look at it. And I mean, you should not try and use this in production. I don't think you could use this in production, but even if you could somehow get this running in production, please do not unless your goal is to find a new job. It is not something that should be deployed today. It's something that can be played with on your laptop today and deployed to production maybe at the end of the year if you're lucky. Cool. We've done the sincerest apologies. We're going to talk about where we are today. And we might skip the last part. The last part is essentially like BEAM outside of the JVM is still really rough, but so is everyone else. So it's not like we have a better option. That's not a very good message, but it's better than no message. So if you're trying to use a currently released version of BEAM, the non-JVM BEAM does not work outside of Google's environment at all in the current released version. But it's okay. We don't have to use the current released version. We can use the master branch. Yay! I have a slide. This is the current release. But let's focus on the master branch. So there's a new portability framework, and this portability framework allows us to kick off SDK harnesses in all kinds of different languages. Right now we only have stuff in Python and Go, and it's not finished, but like whatever you want to put in a container, you can run, probably. Just good luck on making it work. Runners ship their own Docker containers. Goodbye dependency hell, hello container hell. So we can trade one set of problems for another. And that's what software engineering is all about. Here's a design of what works in master. This is sad because we still don't have the Flink logo, though, and that's probably why you're all here. You care about Flink. So let's go to this random branch on the internet. Oh, that's supposed to be a link. When I post the slides, that will be a link. And yeah, we can run Java-ish, Python-ish, Go-ish on top of Flink-ish. Yay! Okay, the excitement is limited, and that is completely understandable. We wish we had more, but it doesn't work yet. But the cool thing is we can use this as the basis to make cool things. Oh yeah, that is a link. Okay, cool. So word count. Everyone loves word count in different languages. This is word count in Go, in Beam. I will, 14 minutes, yes. We'll save the demo for the end because in addition to not being ready for production, 1 out of 3 times when I run this on my laptop, it hard locks. And we didn't get a chance to repro that on a second laptop, but yeah, I'm not going to risk it too much. So we can count words. This is not all that cool, but if you work with people who have written a lot of Go code, maybe you're working with some sysadmins who are doing log processing or something, you can take their existing Go code that they're using to do this cool stuff and put it in Beam and kind of run it on top of Flink in a distributed way. And that's better than nothing. So how TF does this relate to TF? TensorFlow is in Python, so if this line was black instead of this somewhat ugly orange, we could actually use this to run TensorFlow. And there's all kinds of cool TensorFlow libraries which have been written on top of Beam, which right now only really work on top of Dataflow. We can manage our dependencies. This is really important for Python developers, especially people who are working with things like TensorFlow and other deep learning libraries. To actually make your stuff work, you tend to need a lot of random Python packages of very specific versions and random CUDA binaries. And so you can actually manage your dependencies. And the other thing is, if you were listening to Anand's talk in the morning, there's a whole bunch of really cool features in TF Transform, and you can use it to reuse the same code that you're running for your data prep in your online serving. It doesn't work today, it won't work tomorrow, but it will work eventually. And I have the standard open source excuse of patches are welcome. But with the caveat that the patches are sort of welcome, you have to go and find this branch in this wonderful developer's personal GitHub, who's sitting in the back of the room smiling nervously. And so you can find this branch, and patches are welcome, I'm assured, 100%. So, okay, that's kind of sad. What do the other systems do, and why are we trying to make this work in Beam? So it turns out that everyone else kind of sucks too. Most of big data outside of the JVM looks like an interesting mixture of pickling, strings, JSON, and then some people looked at that and decided it wasn't enough, and they added XML on top of it. That went about as well as expected. And they use Unix pipes and sockets to communicate, which is pretty fine compared to the decision to use XML. But not the greatest. And if we want to work in TensorFlow, this means that we have to use our big data stuff outside of the JVM, and so we have to use some of these tools. I'm pretty familiar with Spark. This is the Spark design is a pickle, some pipes, sockets, and JSON, and a cat. And this is what the design looks like in PySpark. And in Beam, it's going to look similar, except there will be nice containers so we can actually manage the dependencies. In Flink, it looks similar, except it uses memory mapped files and a custom bridge between Python and Java rather than Py4j. This is a perhaps flexible architecture diagram, given that I'm in a Flink conference talking about Beam. But it's close enough. Everyone ends up copying data from the JVM into Python. And this impacts us in a lot of ways. We have this expensive serialization cost normally. There's some overhead in starting up our Python workers. Our error messages tend to make no sense. And dependency management really, really is hard. And this is especially true for people who need to run things like TensorFlow. There's some other weird things if you deploy in Yarn versus Kubernetes that tend to trip people up. Hadoop streaming also is bad, despite its name, not actually streaming. Kafka, you could do two things. You could call Java, or you could use a Python reimplementation of the APIs. There is a pure Python approach to this problem. The only problem is it doesn't talk to any of the Java ones because it's a pure Python approach, and your data probably isn't in a format that it understands, and your data engineers probably don't want to rewrite their ETL pipelines into Python. So you really want to be able to keep your existing ETL pipelines, but access this fun Python code. Yay! We're going to run word count. It's going to be so exciting. There is at least a 1 in 3 chance this is going to crash, and a hopefully less than 10% chance that I accidentally show you secret Google credentials. So it looks like I remembered to run clear beforehand, so everyone is very excited that I get to keep my job and I don't have to reset my passwords. And now we're going to run demo.sh while I look very intently at the developer who was helping me debug this morning in the back. Are your fingers crossed? Okay, our fingers are crossed. Boo would cross her fingers, but she only has paws. Let's roll. Okay. Not a solid start. Oh, come on. Okay, well, while this is hanging, I can zoom in and we can see, yay! Okay, so it started off by removing the output from the last time I ran it. It kicks off a job server that we can use to talk to Flink from Beam. It goes ahead and it sets the ACLs on this public to be world writable. Please do not do terrible things with it for the duration of this demo. The shell script should remove the world writability before this recording is posted. I'm hoping the conference Wi-Fi is slow enough to act as my security. And we can see it's gone ahead and it's submitted a Go job, and we saw some word counts. Yay! I'm going to scroll up. We can look at some. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is the first time I've been applauded for running word count. Thank you all. You are amazing. So we're going to try and run word count a second time. Very exciting. So we ran it in Go, and this is kind of cool because we can't use Go with Flink normally. So the fact that we can use it with Beam is pretty awesome. That's kind of cool, and we can see it counted some words. I think this was Shakespeare or something. I don't remember what my input demo was. Oh yeah, it was Shakespeare. And the first class that I ever taught was called Searching Shakespeare, and it was at Google. And I'm stalling for time because the Python SDK takes a long time to start. Who wants to look at the logs together and see if it crashed? That's what we're going to do anyways. Okay, let's open a new tab. Ooh. Okay. It could not talk to our metadata service, and it was waiting on the credentials because we don't support credentials yet, which is why everything is world writable. And once again, I sincerely hope you don't fuck with me by deleting my inputs or outputs while this is running. And it finished the size estimate of our one input file, genuine big data. It's measured in kilobytes. And the estimation took less than a second, so that's probably not the part where it hung. That's not good. Let's run. Wait, if I run this, it's going to show some things that I do. Okay, I have my container. It's running. It's not using any CPU. Let's see if there's a Python worker process running yet. This looks like there's a Python worker process running. That's exciting. Do I have numbers yet? No, I don't have numbers yet. Okay, I think we might call the Python SDK. Ooh, I have a Java exception. And that is actually the sign that the job is getting close to being finished. It's either, well, it's close to being finished one way or another. Either in failure or success, I get a Java exception because I guess we decided that Python stack traces were too readable, and we didn't want to give people that. So we can see a connection was reset by peer. I don't know which connection was reset by peer. If you remember that high-quality architecture diagram, there were many arrows, and so one of our arrows is now a sad arrow. But if it's the right arrow, which is sad, oh, it is! Yay! Okay, if we scroll up, we should be able to see word count part 2. Thank you. Thank you. Genuine big data, you can tell. Most of these have the count 1. Okay, so that demo did not crash my laptop, but did take a lot longer than I expected. Let's go back. So that was a demo. It was a success. That was kind of surprising, probably because we just did word count. So if you're interested in making TensorFlow happy, you can come and join us by making the Beam on Flink with Portability collab branch more awesome. And this is a link to someone's personal repo where they have a branch, which I'm trying to convince them to move, but pull requests are welcome to this branch directly while we're in the process of moving it. There is a design JIRA. It's an umbrella JIRA. You can go and you can click in and you can see the details and you can find out which pieces really don't work yet and which pieces we haven't bothered to think about why they don't work yet. And you can see our general portability design document. I have some feelings about our choice of the words. The thing has turned yellow, so I think it's time for questions. If you want an excuse to go to any of these cities, you can tell your boss, manager, or whatever that it's very important that you come and join me in one of these places talking about things and stuff. I have another conference talk in about an hour at a different conference, so I won't be around for questions like I normally am. But you can ask the people who will be sitting at the Google booth, or you can email me questions, or tweet at me questions, or you can ask a question now if we have time for a question. Does anyone have a question? Okay, word count was just too exciting. Oh, there is a question. What was the blue icon? Oh, that was data flow. So the question is, what was the blue icon? And the blue icon is data flow, and Beam works on data flow, and it's happy. Beam should work on Flink better soon. Okay, I believe the interpretive dance section of the talk is over. And if anyone has questions, just please feel free to tweet at me or go and find other people who will answer questions on my behalf. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Holden, for the demo and the talk.